3rd of January. I'm getting my videos out, it seems. I'm on a roll. So what we're doing is Composite Pluto, Leo in the 5th house. And what I'm going to do is read a little bit from Robert Hand, and then I'm going to run through a quick slideshow, and I'm going to explain to you what Composite Pluto in Leo in the 5th house means. So I'm going to start off with a bit from Robert Hand, who is a fantastic astrologer. And he has a book called, one of them that I own, which is Planets in Transit, which I'm going to put the link below, because you'll be able to look at your aspects, which is, and transits, brilliant to look at and understand your chart. But starting with the Composite Pluto in Leo in the 5th house, pre that I'm going to read a little bit about Composite Pluto so you understand what it means to you. So Pluto is the planet of death and regeneration. In a composite chart, it represents those energies that cause a relationship to go through periods of heavy change. When Pluto is operative, something goes out of existence and a new order comes into being. Its action is absolutely essential to prevent the stagnation that occurs when an old way of life has outlived its purpose. The old must be cleared away to make room for the new state of being that will follow. When dealing with Pluto, you must let go of whatever is going through the Plutonian crisis. If you try and hold on to something that is probably dead, you are not going to succeed in saving it. You will only make a situation worse. So we can see that we've, maybe in our past where we've done that with friendships or relationships or a job or, a business maybe that should have been over, stuff like that. He goes on to say that Pluto operates with such tremendous power that it may be divorced from its death and regeneration aspect and be experienced purely as power. So clearly we have healthy power and unhealthy power as well. The power results from the inevitability of Pluto's transforming quality. The transformations wrought by Pluto are those that arise from the very nature of what is transformed. Its effect is much an integral part of an entity's as an object's weight, size, and color. Every living thing contains the set of circumstances that will eventually bring about all of its fundamental changes, including its death. The power of Pluto comes from within. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is share my slides with you, okay? So we got, what we're looking at with Pluto Composite is to understand this primarily, is that the house and sign where Composite Pluto resides shows us the evolutionary intention and the prior life desires within composite chart within a relationship. It shows us where the relationship left off, and then the polarity point shows us the way forward to resolve the karmic issues. So it's, if we follow the polarity point, so if, then we're basically going to be able to resolve issues if we take it on board what it's telling us. We also then look at the north and south nodes and the location of the rulers in evolutionary astrology. That's what I do. I read charts as well, and I help people evolve. And I also use Carl Gustav Jung's, I read his work and I put it all together and, help people to raise their vibration and also help themselves to evolve and understand. So then the other thing we do is the intention of the relationship will be seen in the polarity point of Pluto and the house and sign it resides in. Here we can also understand the reason the relationship is taking place. Pluto, the soul's evolution through relationship, volume 2, Jeffrey Wolfe Green. So do look at that as well. That book I'll also put below in the link. And then what you've got here, if you can see my mouse that I'm moving around there, you can see that my Pluto at birth is on my MC, it's 15 degrees, conjunct Uranus, and it's 20 degrees on my MC, so it's an orb of 5, but that's where my Pluto is in my 9th house. The next thing you have is, that's if you're looking at your natal chart, but you must, make sure you've got your birth time when you're looking at your chart, really important. Here, this is my chart with a friend. So what happens is you get 2 charts, 2 birth times, 2 locations, and then you bring up the chart together. You can do that on astro.com. And you will see that I've got a 10th house Pluto, and that means something. It's very defining what it means, and then how the relationship works, or friendship, and where the planets fall and the houses. So what you could see is that I've got a 10th house Pluto with my friend here, conjunct Uranus in Virgo in the 10th house. But then you can see that the node is in Gemini, and what we would look at then is the ruler of that node. The ruler of Gemini is Mercury, and then the south node, the ruler is Jupiter. So we'd also look at that, and we'd begin to build up a picture of what's going on in this particular dynamic of friendship. And you can do this with anybody that you know, like if you, as long as you know their time of birth, you can do it with your child. You can work out friendships, you can do partnerships, you can do work colleagues, all sorts of things. So it's a really useful tool. So the next slide, where I'm going to read now, is the Leo, Composite Pluto, 5th house, Composite Pluto, Leo. And I'm going to explain to you what that means. So this is what you're looking for if you have this with somebody. So we're doing here is it's to focus on their life purpose, or the purpose to be creative, sorry, the purpose. So to focus on the purpose to be about being creative in actualizing and meeting their needs and desires. So two people are trying to, be creative and actualize and meet their needs and desires. It's about individuals' support of each other in that. So it's about supporting each other in being creative. There can be strong wills and helping each other. There's motivating each other to garner depth and purpose and power together, and individuality, a sense of being special. Here we can have a past of insecurities and having no power. So if we look at the chart, we could probably see that in the past there's been no power, and also insecurities. There can be compulsions due to insecurity, power struggles, one wanting to control or dominate. So you've got to watch out for that, that one of the people might just want to dominate the relationship or try and control it. Being more special, it's like the sun, I'm really special. And if you've got two people trying to do that and there's no balance, it can cause problems in relationships. Here it can be about emotional past shocks. It can be where you've been crushed and deflated, and it's about seeking others to regain power. It can be where there's been hurt and humiliation of the other and hurting each other. There can be concerns with children, or children being them, about ownership, step parents, uncompleted relationships. And here it's about empowering each other and the need to grow. So we've got the remedy for this would be going to the Composite Pluto 11th house of Aquarius, and it would be about understanding the social planetary context of relationships. It would be about the bigger picture of the relationship and each individual's contribution to society. It would be about understanding to allow each specific needs, the allowance of activities outside the relationship. So not to cut each other off, but to, evolve by doing things, separately as well, and being outside with others in relationship. Here it's about allowing for emotional connection with others, to let the other know they are of importance. So you do let the other know that they are of importance whilst you're doing that, whilst you're being creative with other people. It's about being friends and to grow soul connection, giving in specific ways and meeting the other's needs. So find out what, if you've got this, find out what your true needs are. Don't just assume, and figure this out together. It's about giving together in specific ways to society, and you might see that go on in your friendship or relationship. And it's about explaining what they desire in a calm manner and not be influenced by the feelings and opinions in considering and represent personal feelings. So don't, go over the top on your personal feelings. And there you go. I think next slide. Hope this is helpful. So this is Jeff Wolfe Green, Pluto Volume 1, page 346, and I love reading this. He says, the need to merge with Source, the universal, requires that the individual leaps into the abyss with faith, so that all barriers preventing this consciousness union can be dissolved. Yet this evolutionary need is commonly met with resistance and fear. Just as the wave can resist returning to the sea for a time, if you think about that, the waves on the beach, they resist returning to the sea for maybe a split second. So too does the egocentric identification within the individual resist. So we resist, we resist out of fear and, just neediness or whatever's going on with us. and then surrendering to the cosmic ocean or being from which he or she originated, because we're all going to return to source. Whatever way we look at it, we're all, you know, we're here now, and we're not going to be here forever. So if we can resolve relationship issues, that's why we're learning. And it, you know, astrology is a beautiful tool to do that, to understand each other. And then last but least, we've got Carl Gustav Jung here, who was born in 1875. And he says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And this reminds me of Pluto. I say here, we can see how this statement has a direct connection to Pluto, because, you know, things come from the unconscious and we act them out. There are imprints, and sometimes we get stuck, and because of that sometimes end that didn't need to end. So the more we look at ourselves, the more we get to evolve whatever's going on. Also, what you resist not only persists, but it will grow in size. So that's it, and that's my last slide, and I'm going to be back again with my next video, which will be Composite Pluto in Virgo, or the 6th house. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back over the weekend. Catch you later.